Okay, so we're looking at IELTS Task 2 pattern, discuss both views and give your opinion. Okay, so it's going to be the structure of you've got your introduction, opinion 1, opinion 2, conclusion. You definitely want to give me your opinion in the conclusion. Ideally, you should also give me your opinion in the introduction. And then whichever one of these you disagree with, you should include another sentence after it saying, however, and then explain a weak point or why you don't agree with it. Okay. So that's sort of like the ideal structure. It's like some people believe A because blah, 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 blah. Like some people believe cats are better than dogs because they're smaller, they're easier to take care of, they're more intelligent than dogs. And say, however, research has shown that dogs actually perform much more useful functions in society than cats. And then your body 2 is talking more about it. Okay, so you can kind of structure it a bit like that. So let's take a look at the topic. Some people believe that there should be fixed punishments for each type of crime. Others, however, argue that the circumstances of an individual crime and the motivation for committing it should always be taken into account when deciding on the punishment. Discuss both these views and give your opinion. Okay, so it's like a crime justice one. Should everyone get the same punishment no matter who they are, or should you think about the individual circumstances before you give a punishment? So let's look. Many people insist that the judge should not see the situation but see only the crime itself. This is a very nice sentence, a very strong opening sentence. I like that a lot. They think the same category of illegal behavior should be evaluated as the same punishments since all people are equivalent with each other. Okay, so we wouldn't say people are equivalent. We'd always say people are equal. Okay, since all people are equal with each other. They also said we should think about the crime from a victimized view. From the point of view of the victim. Okay? Given that victims do not care about the criminal's situation. Okay? So I'm confused. Is this an introduction? It's totally possible that when they sent this essay in and it got copied over for this video, that maybe the introduction got missed or the candidate forgot to send the introduction in, or it's quite possible that this candidate has written an introduction and not sent it in, but this does not read like an introduction. Okay, your introduction for IELTS, you should paraphrase the question. You should give maybe a little bit of background info about the topic. Why this is a hot button issue. Recently in the media, there have been many reports of criminals getting lighter sentences due to their personal circumstances, and this has caused controversy. Therefore, it is currently being debated whether some people should have fixed punishments. Okay, and then you give your opinion about it. Those are the basic components of an IELTS introduction. And this to me feels more like they're explaining opinion 1. Okay, so the judge, people are equal. You should think about it from the point of view of the victim, and you should just always give out one punishment. So we've got, on the other hand, some people argue that thousands of criminals have thousands of reasons why they do illegal things. Therefore, judges should go through the circumstances of each criminal. They also contend that because some criminals have more possibilities to be improved, we should forgive them and help them come back to society. Okay, so this feels a little bit short. I feel like this should be a little bit longer. It feels short to me. And I would just say that this person needs to sort of work on their determiners, the as and the does, a little bit. Although I think two kinds of views are reasonable, I believe that the latter's ideas are relatively valid in terms of our society. Okay, this is one of those sort of classic sentences that's too vague. Okay, unclear. It takes me a moment to think what they mean. Two kinds of views. Which views? Okay, remember, we're starting a new paragraph, so you need to be very clear. The two kinds of views. What two views? I believe that the latter's ideas are relatively valid in terms of our society. This, again, it's sort of like, it's a very vague type of sentence. So it would be much more focused to say, although I think it's although I think the idea of fixed punishments is reasonable, I believe that taking criminals' circumstances into account is more valid in terms of modern society. Okay, and then suddenly it's a much more focused sentence. Some people think that they're doing these kind of phrases make you sound more academic and more formal, but actually it just makes your writing more confusing to listen to and more confusing to read. Okay, so look at the next sentence. There are some reasons why I think like this. First of all, people's situation and background are different from each other. People's situations and backgrounds are different from each other, so they have their own reasons for the crimes respectively. Some people, such as taxi drivers, can violate the law concerned with high speed limit. Can violate the law, the speed limit. It would just say can violate the speed limit, not law concerned with the speed limit, due to emergency situations such as taking a pregnant woman. We don't know which pregnant woman, where? To the hospital. However, others, such as a rich man who loves driving fast, can enjoy their hobby of controlling their sports car fastly, albeit illegally. Oh, what a fancy phrase. Oh, a nice use of the word albeit. Okay, that's good. Points for using albeit correctly. It kind of means like but. Therefore, they can do their hobby, but illegally, even though it's illegal. Others, such as a rich man who loves driving fast, can enjoy their hobby of controlling their sports car fastly is weird. You don't control something fastly. Controlling their fast sports car, you can say. If they got the same fine for the same crime, a rich man who doesn't care about money will continue his illegal driving, I guess. Okay, so they've given some examples. They've explained their view quite well. There's just some issues with the phrasing and some of the language being used. I feel like this candidate is trying to use... They feel like they're in that stage where they're trying to improve their score, so they're trying to add in these new phrases or new words that they've learned, and the sort of success is slightly inconsistent. Another reason is the possibility of criminal's reflection. Some people can feel more guilty about their crimes than others. In this case, if society forgives them and gives more opportunities to them, they can become good citizens. According to research conducted by Yonsei University Law School, criminals who have been sentenced to reduced punishments are inclined to not do the same crime. Therefore, forgiving them can make society safer compared to the past. Okay, so we've got a nice example. I always love it when a candidate gives me a fake example. That makes me happy. So they're sort of explaining well, and so they're trying to fully explain their ideas. So a big part of task achievement in IELTS Task 2 is giving reasons why you believe something and then explaining why you believe that. Okay, so explaining is all about showing the chains of logic, explaining your logical thinking and giving examples to back that up. Oh, and so no conclusion. Okay, all right, so first issues, and this could be my fault. It could have not been copied over, okay, but there's no introduction and there's no conclusion. Okay, so that's really limiting your score, okay? So task achievement, coherence and cohesion, you need an introduction, you need a conclusion, okay? So that's going to limit you probably at the sort of 4 level for task achievement and coherence because it's not been structured correctly. Now, I'm sure if this candidate had an introduction and conclusion, we would be sitting in the sort of 5 to 5.5 range. But unfortunately, they don't have one, so I'm just going to mark them straight down there for that. But in terms of task achievement, things that were good, they used an example, they explained themselves, they gave multiple reasons. Coherence and cohesion, they did use linking words. Their linking between the paragraphs was fine, and they were arguing pretty logically. So if they had these two things, the score would have gone up. Vocabulary, they did show some nice vocabulary. They did have some errors in word formation, like controlling a car fastly. So I would probably put them in the 5 for vocabulary. And then grammar, we had quite a few issues with some of the sentence structures and some vague phrasing. And some of the grammar did make it a little bit difficult, but I did always understand what they said, so I would put it at a 5. So coming out an overall 4.5. And my only feedback is like there's a lot of potential in this IELTS essay. This candidate clearly has good vocabulary and clearly has good ideas, but you need an introduction. You need an introduction, you need a conclusion.